What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorldPodcast, and right now we're going to be talking about the Dolphins versus the Jaguars, Thursday Night Football, Week 3, 2020. It was a game that was going on during the time that the Lakers were actually going up against the Nuggets, and I think a lot of us were switching back and forth just to realize that Fitzpatrick, he obviously can still play. He's still got the FITZMAGIC stuff going on. Obviously, he's just warming the seat up for Tua, but defensively they played well because you got to understand something. Minshew just a week ago actually looked like he was a decent quarterback. And people have to start to understand, no preseason, so many injuries. There are a lot of things that's going to be involved with this season. It is still football, but at the same time, these athletes are used to a certain type of schedule, and they didn't get it this actual time for, I guess, the first time in a while. So you guys are going to have to realize that a lot of the things that we're going to see, some of it is going to be normal, some of it won't be as normal. Now, we've seen FitzMagic do this in random times throughout his career. It's not like it's something surprising about it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about him later. Right now, we're going to talk about the Jaguars and take a look at some of the stats. Now, if you have James Robinson in fantasy, let me know in the comments, because that dude, no matter what's happening, he looks like he's going to be somebody that's going to get his stuff. Receiving 83 yards, 6 receptions. He had 6 targets. All right, rushing 2 TDs, 46 yards, whatever. But are you ready to forget about Leonard Fournette already? Are you guys just ready to just abandon Leonard Fournette and just say, yo, you know what? You suck. We had no, whatever, bro. The relationship was always rocky from the start. Or are you ready to say, you know what? This guy is going to be continuously getting better, James Robinson, and filling that void. For me, just looking at what he was doing, he was able to stay involved with the game rather successfully, and he wasn't only a guy that you just turn around and hand the ball off to. Obviously, when I, note his targets and the 6 receptions. So in that regard, I think he's a much more dynamic player at this point, in my opinion, than Leonard Fournette was in this specific offense. When I think about Leonard Fournette, I think of a guy just running into somebody and trucking him and not caring about his problems. This guy is a little bit more versatile, so I think that will help the Jaguars offense. Now, looking at the rest of the offense of the Jaguars, none of these names really ring a bell other than Tyler Eifert when he was with the Bengals, but everybody else is just who are these guys? Keenan Cole, Chris Thompson, these guys are all right, Chris Conley, whatever, dude. A lot of the stuff that this guy is working with is not, up to par. He's not playing with a team that is suitable to really get victories. So people have to keep that in mind with the way that this is going on right now with the Jaguars, because everybody's going to be quick to say Gardner Minshew sucks. It's sort of remember when Tom Brady was struggling last year and he still got them to the playoffs, and then you look at his offense and you see that, a lot of people are battling injury, a lot of people just suck, whatever the situation is. And you start to understand you need some weapons, dude. Even though Cam Newton has looked a lot better with those same weapons, you still need weapons to be successful. And this guy, the Jaguars, does not have suitable weapons, and that's going to do anything to any formidable team. So I just want to make sure that we're fair with the the criticism of it. 275 yards, 1 interception, 30 of 42. He's just out there throwing the ball, dude. He's look, somebody got to get open. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has to get open. We got to do stuff. I don't think many of us really expected anything else out of the Jaguars. I myself was impressed the way that they started off the season, because I didn't expect it to start off the way that it did. But overall, looking at their roster, Jalen Ramsey's going defensively. They got some players that can play, but it's not a team that's, we should expect anything major from. But James Robinson, if he's a guy that, is on the waiver wire or whatever it is, you guys need to pick him up, for fantasy. We need to get away from the actual football game and let's just talk fantasy right now, because this team is not going anywhere, and we know that already. We know the Jaguars have no idea what's going on, but it's certain players that I like to just go ahead and point out. This guy's going to be tormenting the league, because he's going to be a guy that he's already implemented himself in the offense right now. He's been doing very, very good things, so they're going to continue to utilize him in that regard. So I would definitely go ahead and take a swing at that and see how it works out for you guys going forward. He may be a guy that, ends up getting you the ring. You might get your Final Fantasy, your football fantasy, whatever, ring at the end of the season because of that guy. Jumping over to the Dolphins now, Ryan Fitzpatrick has done things like this before. He was actually perfect for a while, as far as throwing the ball, two incompletions, 18 to 20, 2 touchdowns, 160 yards. Seems rather pedestrian with 160 yards. But look at who he's throwing the ball to. Devontae Parker's a dog, but he's not really that superstar receiver, but he can get open and he can do what he has to do. 5 receptions for 5 targets. He's not dropping nothing. Also, Myles Gaskin, 5 targets. He didn't drop anything either. Gesicki had that ridiculous touchdown that was trending on Twitter throughout the night, which was very, very interesting. But I want to point out some things real quick, right? When you look at their running game, Jakeem Grant, 1 carry for 29 yards. Breda, Jordan Howard. Breda and Jordan Howard have been very, very disappointing so far, thus far this year. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't understand how it's going to work out, but I think that the Dolphins were looking for more of a 1-2 punch. Myles Gaskin, and then you bring in some guys, and then you figure out what's going on. If they're not able to figure out that run game, I don't like what's going on with the Dolphins. But again, I think this year, like I said earlier, Tua is just sitting out, just watching and taking his time. I think he's going to come in and give us a little bit more energy with the offense, and they'll be able to do a lot of different things. But again, with the way that everything is, we're going to have to wait to see how it evolves. Is there a chance that Tua comes in this season? Because Fitzpatrick just has an unbelievable, disgusting game, and they're like, yo, we want some Tua. Because right now, everything is fun. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's gradually, unless, Tua's still rehabbing off of his surgery or, the injuries that he may have had, and they don't want to take a chance, we may see Tua. And I think that the offense is going to change regardless, but he doesn't really have a burner other than Jakeem Grant. There's really nobody on the team that he could do anything with. So, running around and trying to get somebody open, we have to wait to see how that's going to work out. But I just want to see Tua. I just want to see him ball. That's all I want to see. But again, Fitzpatrick, it's a Thursday night game. We also had basketball, which is the playoffs. Very, very rare. It's weird, but this pandemic has been kind of crazy, and all the sports and everything is all staggered. So even if you weren't enjoying this game, you would have been able to enjoy something at that time. So I'm just letting you guys understand, when we talk about the Dolphins and the Jags, people are like, yo, what is this even about? It's about nothing. Neither of these teams are going anywhere. Bro, these teams right here, these dudes are garbage, and they're not going to be ending up anywhere like where we care about it. So it's not that big of a deal. Again, with this right here, I don't even know who I would use for fantasy. You know what I'm saying? I guess Ryan Fitzpatrick on a certain game. Like, you got this dude rushing for touchdowns, throwing for touchdowns. Jordan Howard, he had a little, rushing touchdown, but three yards is a joke. It's not even nothing I can even really talk about. Even Gesicki, who was trending, like, what is he doing? Like, 1 reception, 15 yards. He had 3 targets. So overall, these two teams, if you have to use a player from the team, God bless you for your, your fantasy league. But I just had to make sure that you guys understood what I got from the game, and that's what we're doing with that. So pretty much how we're going to go ahead and get this done. We're going to continue to go through for Sunday. There's a lot of exciting games there. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. GmiasWorld Podcast is available on iTunes, Android, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other avenues if you want to listen on the go. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. You go ahead and have a great day. Until next time, one love, y'all.